Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. We are the Mile High Property Brothers. Today, not like a red alert or must watch now, but definitely something more pertinent due to the market that we're in right now and some things that you might not know. But before you move to Denver or before you buy a new build in Denver, watch this first.
All right, don't want to miss this one, guys. Stay tuned, diving right into it. What's up, guys? I'm Eli Schmidt. This is my partner, Will Grimes. And if it's your first time checking out our channel, welcome. And while you're here, you're gonna wanna hit that subscribe button and don't forget the notification bell. That way, every Tuesday and every Thursday, you get notified when we drop a new one of these, telling you everything there is to know about moving to Denver or living in the entire surrounding area.
100%, and we are licensed brokers here in the state of Colorado, which means just as much as we love making these videos, we would love more to help you with those real estate needs. So that number that's popping up below, we are the guys trying to the phone calls, text messages, and those emails. So if we can help you, we would love to, but new builds,
Yes.
Colorado, don't buy until post video. Let's talk about it.
Now, one of the biggest changes that we've seen over the past 6 months to a year, this brings us to our first point. You're going to want to negotiate on the price. Now, talking negotiations a year ago wasn't gonna happen.
No, and let's talk about why, right? Like
Yes.
inventory was super low.
Yep.
Colorado had about a week and a half of inventory, maybe 3 weeks at some points of inventory, but we had so many different buyers that were coming through. New builds and just traditional homes could just kind of charge what they wanted to charge and people were willing to pay. Now that we're in correct, now that we're in a different market where we've got several months worth of inventory, right? Interest rates jumped up, but now they're starting to settle back down, correct? So we've got more buyers that are coming out, but we still got a ton of inventory. And why does inventory matter to new builds? Well, new build or not, they're still competing with traditional homes because you got some homes that are on the market right now. Even where I live, they're 2 or 3 years old, but they're on the market. And that's pretty much new. So a new build has to compete even in their own community with pre-existing homes that they just built 2 or 3 years ago that are for sale. And some folks have no problem looking at homes that are even built in the 90s, 80s, 70s, and 60s, and really just comes down to a couple options that they have with where they could choose to live. And because they have options, well, new builds have to treat their product just like anybody else as far as being as appealing as possible. And one of those things is being able to negotiate the price. Now, why is that such a great thing for you to at least exercise while you're looking at new builds and having your realtor, best realtor right now, help you with those negotiations? Is they're not gonna market that they negotiate with prices, okay? Like everyone knows traditional homes, depending on what the seller owes or what they're in it for or where they're at as far as like what they'd like to get from their home before they move somewhere else. Everyone knows that there's negotiations there and that those prices that are on the MLS when they list their home are not a ballpark. They're accurate to where the market's at, but
it's an asking price.
It's also just known that, hey, homes are negotiable.
Yeah.
But no one's ever really been used to like new builds being able to be negotiated. It's been like the no haggle price, right? Just like with vehicles. The price is the price, and then you've got some upgrades or whatever you're putting in that home, et cetera, but no one's thought to think about the base price just being negotiable. So this is where getting creative and asking and going through that process is super important. And yes, they're not gonna market that. So if you're not aware that that's even possible, they're not gonna make it aware that they could just give up money to you.
Yeah, so make sure you talk with us before going in to talk to a builder. We have really good relationships with many of the builders around here.
Well, and guys, we go in there with you as well. Like we have a great first meeting and show you guys the product. They do a great job knowing the product. We do a great job representing you. We also go through the design center with you. We go through the contract process with you. Yes, a new build contract is not the same as a state of Colorado contract that you get with traditional sales and buys. We do a lot of new builds with a lot of you clients. We've got a lot of great relationships with these new builds that are out here. So definitely a strong suggestion.
Yes, and it's not uncommon, especially lately, that we've been able to get $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 off of the initial asking price.
Well, we had $60,000 off of a house.
Yes, we did.
While the interest rates were going up and we were already under contract.
Yeah.
That speaks to understanding that, hey, like builders were still motivated to like do what they could for the client, because even though like they were under contract, the builder knew they could break that contract, lose their earnest money, which is a couple grand, not much compared to the better price, they could go across the street to a new build across the street from them and already drop their price. So they're not stupid. They're developers. They're building. They understand how to convert for themselves. But again, they're just not going to go out there and shout it from the top of the Rocky Mountains that they'll negotiate with you.
That's right. Now, our second point kind of coincides with this one a little bit, but that's asking what their incentives are if you go with their lender.
Correct.
Okay. Now, the majority of builders, almost all of them, will have a relationship or just in-house lending available. Now, many times they will offer a significant portion either off of the price of the home or an amount towards closing costs or an amount towards the design center.
Correct.
If you go with their lender.
Correct. And we've also got a preferred lender that we use a lot that does a great job, gets the job done. He's also got some great rates being a broker himself. So as far as like just giving some context to comparing and contrasting, you know, what works better. Sometimes just going with that lender, that's the preferred lender for the builder, are hard to beat, and it's a phenomenal win for you. And they've got that relationship, so the communication between lender and builder can be very great. But there are times where an independent broker or lender can actually beat that or incentivize you in different ways that are just a better benefit for you. Either way, it's your choice with which way you want to go, but it's good to just see both and turn those stones. That way you feel the best you can about the product that you're purchasing loan-wise.
Now, another very important question for you to ask is what the build timeline is looking like. Now, a lot of these guys, because buyer demand has softened a little bit, they're able to get caught up, and it's not uncommon right now. We've got some people that are doing a brand new build, meaning from dirt, that they're getting quoted 8 months as opposed to 14 months like we were getting quoted before.
Correct. And the other benefit is the cost of like lumber and other materials have significantly gone back down. Now that import and export, whatever was going on economically with that a year ago, things were 5-6 times more expensive than they should have been. So, but you can't just sell a house 5 or 6 times more, right? They were eating a lot of that cost, and they were having to slow down their production because they couldn't stomach 10 houses at once that weren't sold yet because they just couldn't afford the cost. And there's risks that sometimes people change their lifestyle and they still fall out of contract, even though they're under contract on a home. So when things are just more expensive, those developers have to be that much more fickle with where the money goes. So their pace, not only was like material just slower in getting here, but the pace of how they wanted to exercise that was also different. But now the inventory is back up, but costs for lumber and everything else is back down. They can get not only caught up, really start elaborating back to normal as far as like putting together 10, 12 homes at a time.
Now, part of your timeline conversation is going to be whether or not the home is a dirt start, brand new build, or if it is a spec home / inventory home, as a lot of them will call it. Now, dirt start new build, that's obvious, okay? A spec home means this is a home that they've already chosen all the finishes for, all the designs, everything like that has already been picked out. That way, they don't need to wait for a buyer to start building. They can start building right away. Now, a lot of these homes, they might be ready to move in right now, or they might just be 2 to 3 months out.
Correct. And as long as that's what you want and everything fits your needs, it can be great for your timeline. One benefit you might not think of when it comes to dirt start is when they're laying out those lots. And the ones that are available, typically there might be 2 to 3 floor plans that are already approved for that lot. So if you want a walkout basement, you don't have to have it, but if you wanted to, and it is zoned for that, well then you also have the creative freedom as far as picking your floor plan or what amenities kind of come with that floor plan, versus if you're buying a spec home, even if they haven't like started, they've only started laying some foundation or they're getting ready to, once everything's been submitted, there's no going back.
Yeah,
so
even
if it's barely started, you're not gonna be able to like pause it and do the walkout basement or pause it and okay, no walkout basement, but I want the upstairs to be this floor plan instead of this floor plan. Once everything's been submitted, that house, no matter how far it is in that process, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. You might have some creative freedom with the design center, depending on how soon you catch it, but typically they've already picked those things as well. Now, I will say benefit of doubt to that is they do a great job with design center. They do a great job with paying attention to what most people pick. So a lot of what they are doing for those homes are typically pretty freaking cool anyway. So there shouldn't be anything that's overly picky. And if you're just changing some paint here or there, not a problem, but for the most part, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Again, most of them are phenomenal, but just remember like some of that creative freedom you get or just liberty with options from a dirt start.
Yes, now the design center expenses are our next point, and that is something that is often overlooked by a lot of you guys. You know, when you're looking at getting a home built and you choose the floor plan that you want and you choose a lot and all that stuff, you're like, great, I'm in this house, I'm at $800,000, that's phenomenal. But you haven't been to the design center yet, and if it is one of those dirt
all you husbands out there that just go crazy in the design center and just want it all, your husband's got to cut it out.
Got to watch it.
Because that's now $1 million house.
Sometimes it is actually the husbands that are going crazy.
I know, yeah.
But very, very easily, guys, I would say from all the design center appointments that we've been in, I've never been in one where they walked out less than 70 grand. Okay, correct. So when you're factoring in your budget, you're looking at the lot, premium, the base price of the model of the home, add an extra 70 to 100 grand onto that just out of the gate.
Sometimes 150. Yeah. Right now, I will say because cost is just down for builders, it's probably not going to reach that unless you guys are getting super elaborate. But the benefit, just being transparent, is we've never seen a new build not appraised. So even though that base price is at 700 or 800, and you're going to go put another 100 grand in upgrades into that home with the builder, we've never seen that home not appraised, including the upgrade. So that extra 100 grand that you're putting into that home, that is a part of like your financing. So yes, be prepared for the financing that's coming with it, but no, that should not be extra cost. That's just coming out of your pocket. I'm sure you already knew that. I just wanted to make sure that we were transparent as far as, hey, the pro to that is, yes, that we've never seen them not appraised. That will all be in one conglomeration called your mortgage. And I'm sure you knew that as well.
Now, coming off of the design center, a very important question you're going to want to ask a builder is, hey, what is just included with the homes themselves? Different builders include different things. For example, one builder might not consider an air conditioner a base level inclusion.
Or a garage door opener. You know, the machine that opens a garage, that thing, like.
Go figure.
Now, a lot of it isn't trying to be like discomforting to you or anything like that, but those things cost about $800 a piece. Builders are looking at that of, hey, if we have 2 different doors per house, that's $1,600 times the 2,000 homes that we're building, that does add up in cost. So now a lot of them do include it, and as margins have gotten a lot better because cost is down on material and everything else, I bet a lot of them go back to including more things just to be more competitive to appeal to buyers, and we typically see that when builders have to get more competitive. But regardless, it's never a bad idea. It should be mandatory, right? That you make sure that, hey, before we go to design center, before we're looking at what the upgrades are, in addition to backsplashes and luxurious cabinets, it's, do we have doors? Do we have garage door openers? Right? Of course we have doors. I'm being facetious, but it's still good to see what that all includes. And that way, if you're looking at a couple of different builders, let's compare and contrast location, size, bang for buck, everything you're getting with that home.
Now, our final point here is any additional unexpected expenses that you should expect after purchasing the home.
What to expect
when you're expected. Now, the perfect example of this is landscaping. Now, almost all of the builders in Colorado will include front yard landscaping. That means sprinklers in the front yard, grass, a couple trees, little trees, maybe some shrubs, right? And some rocks. The backyard, however, almost always is never included.
Correct.
Same with the backyard fencing. That's almost always an aftermarket expense that you're gonna have to take on.
Now that's something that you can also negotiate. You can talk to the builder about maybe giving some concessions or some money toward your backyard, as far as like, hey, they'll throw in 10 grand or 15 grand. We've seen that done before. When builders were really struggling in the beginning to like get more of their homes sold, that was one thing that they were doing. They had a relationship with the landscaper that was doing most of that area. They would incentivize there, but the price point wouldn't wiggle. So really it comes down to like, what's best for you? Because if they negotiate price, that's gonna make your mortgage a little bit more affordable. So let's say they come down on a price, $15,000. Whether it's off the price or giving you concessions, that's out of the builder's pocket no matter what. But if they're coming down on price for you, that's gonna affect your mortgage by a couple $100. But if you are okay with where the price is at, you'd rather have them maybe give you some concessions for 15 grand toward your backyard landscape, well, that would have to be out of pocket, right? Your landscape that you got 6 or 12 months to finish once you own your new build, and your HOA will dictate how much time that you're allowed to have. No, you're not really financing that. That's money that's gotta be spent out of pocket. So if you'd rather not pay out of pocket for some landscape, maybe we negotiate some concessions for landscape versus coming down on your price point, right? Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Hopefully I'm giving you something that you didn't know, because a minute ago I was giving you some stuff you did know. And you know what else you know? You know that number's coming right up below. Boom, there it is. And the reminder that yes, we are licensed brokers here in the state of Colorado. And yes, just as much as we love making these videos, we would love more to help you with those real estate needs. So that number that is still up below. We are the guys who answer the phone calls, text messages, and those emails. So if we can help you, we would love to. Eli's a great landscaper, by the way.
Terrible. The worst.
Until next
He's a great mover. If you guys need some heavy stuff moved, you got a big old truck, big muscles. Not a better mover than this dude right here.
And I'm also looking for a new business partner, right? Either way, you guys have a great week and weekend, and we will see you guys very soon.
See you guys.